Hey there, welcome to Contracts and Chaos. My name's Alyssa.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to tell you that you are not alone in the mayhem of this real estate industry.
We're keeping it real and sharing our stories, strategies, and successes in today's real estate world.
So come join us every Tuesday while we talk contracts and chaos. Okay, so today we are actually answering a Q&A from our listeners. We had a little technical difficulty with Alyssa this week, and part of her recording actually didn't save, which is crazy. So for the first 4 minutes of this episode, it's just me answering questions. The first question that she asked me was, have I ever worked in a divorced situation where the clients were going through a divorce? And you'll be able to hear my answer. And then I move on to a question that I picked by myself. And then Alyssa picks up with us, say about 4 or 5 minutes in. So stick with us while we are answering our listeners' Q&A. No, but I've just heard horror stories about it. But in that same thing, and I know it says divorcing clients, but this makes me think of an estate sale also. I think the idea behind it is the high emotions, the just hostile environment. And I have closed, 4 or 5 estate sales where there were multiple heirs that were listed. And then, of course, North Carolina is a marital interest state. So each of those heirs, if they have a significant other, that significant other has to sign and be on board with everything. The most signatures I've ever had to get on documents is 16. We used 2 additional signatures pages. Yes, it was insanity. Each of those, so there was 6 sets of attorneys. 6 because all of them were so against each other. And it was such a messy. It was during COVID. Unfortunately, the mom and dad both passed away during COVID. That's why the house was being sold. But also one of the sisters died of COVID too. So one of the heirs had passed away. So then now what should have been just her as an heir passed on to her 4 heirs. So it was, oh God. And I mean, that was a really stressful time for a lot of people. It was a lot. But I'm gonna take this question unless you have a fun story too. Tell me about your very first transaction in real estate and how did it go? And I have a video on my social media somewhere because this was a question that somebody asked me a while ago, and I was like, this is a funny story, So once upon a time, back in the end of 2019, when I was a new baby agent, I got an Op City lead. And for anybody that doesn't know what that is, it's like an internet lead, right? And this was literally 3 weeks after I got my license. I was brand new. And I sure did. And they were, supposedly paying cash. They wanted to look at this one house. If this house didn't work, then they weren't interested in looking at any other houses. They wanted to meet me there in 30 minutes. It was 24 minutes away from my house. And I was like, oh yeah, of course, absolutely. It was marked as a go and show in showing time. So that means as long as there's not a showing already scheduled, you can go see that house, right? So I scheduled the appointment. And listen, I don't do things like this anymore, but hear me out. I was brand new, and I jumped in my car, and at that point, and I still do have offer documents, everything already printed in a folder just in case. So I go to this house, and I go unlock the door, and I open the door, and there is a man in his little tighty whities, 70-year-old man has to be, in nothing but his little boxer briefs. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We're coming to see that. I was like, oh yeah, I saw the showing request come through. And I was like, you live here? Why is this marked as a go and show? And he said, oh, just come on in, don't mind me. He walks outside, barefoot, just hangs out on the porch while we check out the house. And they go in, they're like, I think it's priced a little high. It was priced at $98,000. It was a single wide trailer on 4 acres. They were interested in it because of the land. And we go back out on the porch, and this man's like, listen, the real estate lady told me to list it at this, but really, I'm moving in with my sister, yada, yada, yada. I would take $52,000 for it. That's 40, like $6,000 less than what it's listed at. And so my clients are talking to him, and I'm like, oh my God, they're not supposed to be talking to this man. This man is represented by somebody else. Here I am. I'm going to real estate jail, right? And we wrote an offer on the back of my car, the trunk of my car, right then and there. I scanned it, sent it to the agent, was like, listen, I know this isn't what you want to see for an offer, but your client already, like, we wrote the terms that he said that he wanted. And we closed in 10 days. And that was the end. The end. That was 10 days cash. No inspections, no nothing. 10-day close.
Are you there?
Yeah.
I don't know what just happened.
I was talking and you just like, peace out. I'm done.
Like I clicked
Mic
on the
drop.
screen and like not on the X or anything, and you were just gone. And I was like, what just happened? And it was like join session. I'm like, what just guys, we are having technical issues
This is
today.
a good day. Okay, all right.
I'll do Instacart orders here for Thanksgiving.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I timed it so I would be home because I was like, I don't have time to go to the store.
Go to the store. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Coolest apps for realtors. This isn't one that's, I guess, specifically for realtors, but this year I've used it a lot, and it is called Marco Polo. Like, Marco.
I feel like I've heard of it. Look at what I'm reaching for. Notepad.
A sticky note. Yeah, to write this down. So Marco Polo, it has a paid version, but I have only used the free version, and I use this with my relocation clients that aren't here to tour houses with me. And anybody that's done like a relocation client, like you go through, you either FaceTime or you take individual videos, and then you're trying to either upload them into like a Google Drive to send them the videos, or you're eating up all the storage on your phone. Like, it's a lot. Marco Polo, you take a video while you're in there, and it'll show what, like, they can watch you walk through the house live. They can watch it live, and it saves that video inside the app for 30 days. So
it's like a FaceTime, but it saves it. That's nice.
Yeah, so if we're looking at 3 or 4 houses that day, they can sit back down and walk back through those houses again and again.
That's nice.
The only downside is that they can't talk to you in it. They can only react, like heart, thumbs up, thumbs down, that kind of thing. So usually I have them like text me and I'll just keep like the notifications up, kind of thing. But I've used that a lot this year, and it's been very helpful. Marco Polo, I don't use the paid version. It's just,
I wonder if they can talk to you in the paid version.
Perhaps. It was one of those things, like, I didn't want to be like, okay, you have to download this app and pay whatever, $19.99 or whatever for it.
Oh, yeah, if they would have to pay it too.
Yeah,
no, we don't do that.
Because they have to download the app and create an account so they can see it. But it's worked out really well this year.
I normally FaceTime, and then I go back through and take video in the same order and send it to them. I'm like, here's
it's
everything,
just so
here's a quick recap.
complicated sometimes. Yeah. And then if you've got bad service, like the FaceTime's grainy, it's just, so if they have
and I have a client stationed in Korea right now. So I'm sending lots of video to him to see what, because the time difference too. If I were to hike, because he's looking at vacant land in the mountains, if I were to hike that lot at the time that's appropriate for him,
right, it would be the middle of the night.
Yeah, no, I'd be murdered by Bigfoot, so we're not gonna do that. Okay, so we have some fun ones.
All right, do you want to pick a question to ask me, or do you want to pick a question you want to answer with these ones?
Oh,
yeah,
I kind of like the idea of asking you.
Okay, pick one. Shoot. Okay.
Ooh. Some of these I already know, so it's like, okay.
I know it's hard because like we've done enough of these podcasts and hung out enough that like I've heard a lot of stories.
Okay, this one actually I was going to talk to you about or ask you about something about related to this today.
Oh boy. Okay.
What's your guilty pleasure or TV show or movie after a long day?
Grey's Anatomy.
Really? I had to stop watching that. But
I love Grey's. I haven't watched. Listen, I watch like the old episodes. I love Grey's Anatomy. But if I'm just like, it's been a really bad day, Grey's Anatomy I watch when I just need to I need to cry, because Travis made me stop watching Grey's Anatomy when we were watching it the first time, because I would go to bed sobbing, and he was like, this is not healthy, I need you to stop doing this. If I'm just like, I need a drink, I need to sit on the couch, it's cooking shows.
Really?
It's the Food Network for sure.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I started Grey's Anatomy 2 years ago, and then
Oh,
we had a tragic death in the family. I was like, we can't watch this right now. And I have not stepped back into it because I was doing this. I had never seen it before. So I was like, oh, I'll
hmm
watch this. People say it's good.
oh, it is
Um,
so good,
but I
and it's
can't
so
do
terrible, and
medical
it will
shows.
rip your heart out 14 times over.
Yeah. When, what's his name died? The guy that was burnt and they couldn't recognize him.
George.
Yeah, George. That broke
George.
me. That broke
Yeah.
me. Okay, no crying. There's no
Okay.
crying in our podcast. I mean,
Okay.
there could be, but maybe not today. I feel like we've cried a lot lately.
Oh my God. Okay. What is the strangest request a client has ever made to you?
Oh. Oh, I know.
Oh, good.
I know. We were selling land for him.
Mm-hmm.
This is the crazy psycho.
Mm-hmm.
And like I had to get a scrapper involved, all these things, and it was ugly. And at least 30 years ago, because trees were growing up in the middle of it, he had decided to start building a house on this land and he never completed it. So there was a foundation of cinder blocks that was probably 10 feet tall. And 2 days before closing, he told me he needed more time because he had to go get his cinder blocks. And I said, okay. I said, well, there's not that many loose ones out there. Is it really worth? He said, no, I'm taking down the foundation. Those are worth money. And I said, no, you're not. That stays. Well, no, I sold the land, not the foundation.
Oh God. Yeah, no, I remember this too.
And I was like, that's not how that works. But I
Mm-mm.
will tell you, the buyers gave him 30 days possession after closing so
To
he
get
could
it.
go do. I don't think he ever took shit from that lot. But part of me, it's for sale right now. Part of me wants to be like, hey, I don't have a buyer, but I just want to peek and see if he ever
Did he
took
clean it
anything.
up? Yeah.
Yeah, did he ever go get his stuff?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Okay. If you could sell real estate in any city in the world, where would it be?
I literally knew you were gonna say this. I knew you were gonna pick this one. And honestly,
Sorry.
like I don't think that I care what the city name is. I just want it to be oceanfront.
Same.
Like I don't care. It could be South Carolina. It could be North Carolina. It could be
Yeah.
Maine. I would sell like, Old Orchard Beach in Maine. I just want to be oceanfront. That's it.
Yeah, or a large lake. Like I would go back to the Great Lakes maybe if it were warmer. But like the
Maybe.
first one that popped in my head was like Charleston and Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because one, it's oceanfront, but two,
I love old cities.
it's still easily drivable to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to right now at their age. I never want to be further away than I am right now.
Yep.
So that
That's a
definitely
good
gets
one.
weighed in. Yeah.
I don't know. There's some good questions in here. Let's see.
Right.
What is your go-to coffee or drink order when you're running between appointments?
Fountain Diet Coke from McDonald's Light Ice.
Really?
Yeah.
I love a Diet Coke, but that is not what I thought you were gonna say.
I only like Fountain Diet Coke. If it's in a
Okay.
can, I'll suffer through it. If it's in a bottle, I'm probably not
No
going to
way.
take it.
Yeah.
Fountain Diet Coke, most likely from McDonald's because theirs is crispy. I don't know what
Mhm.
it is. Actually, I do know because I Googled it one day. They actually refrigerate from the pouch of the juicy stuff. Went
It makes
through
all the
where it combined.
difference.
All the lines are refrigerated the whole way, so it
Mhm.
never gets warm, cold, warm, cold. Like it's crisp.
It makes a big difference.
Yes, that is my go-to. That's
funny. I would not have thought that you would spit that out, but I approve. I like it.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. And then it usually ends up with a small French fry sometimes too. But because I'm telling you, I have this theory. There's something in Fountain Diet Coke, especially from McDonald's, that will fix every ailment. Hungover, Fountain Diet Coke.
Yes.
Migraine, Fountain, like everything.
Upset stomach. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I will, like, if I'm sick, I will get in my car and I will drive to the McDonald's around the corner and get a Fountain Diet Coke. And if
Mhm.
that doesn't work, then I might call the doctor.
Yeah, because you're probably dying.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I'm like, there's
probably
something wrong.
Yeah.
Um. Ooh. What's the best or worst advice you've ever received as a realtor?
Okay. Okay.
I love
Okay.
you make that face like, oh, here we
Oh,
go.
I have a good one. Okay.
Buckle up.
Okay, all right. The best advice I was ever given was that it doesn't matter what sign you put in somebody's yard. They're working with you, not your logo.
Yes, ma'am.
That was a really, really good one. And the worst piece of advice, which the worst piece of advice was if you don't look like their version of professional, you're not going to be successful.
Yes.
Best and worst advice. It doesn't matter which firm you're with. It doesn't matter what your sign looks like. They are working with you because they chose to work with you. And that goes the same thing with my first headshots. I don't know if you've seen the trend the last couple of weeks. I've seen so many realtors like then and now their realtor headshots.
That's
and
funny
it's
because
like
I'm having photos done next week, and
every
I should do that
single
next
one
week.
of them. The first one's like the crossed arms, the like, the realtor headshot. Like if you Google it, I'm fairly confident
In a
that's what they
blazer with the
branded,
arms
in a
crossed
blazer.
and a creepy smile.
Yeah, and now it's like, on a couch, barefoot, with a laptop, And I think that that's the best thing that could have ever happened to this industry, because that was my first headshot was like a white sweater and like dress pants, and it looks staged. If anybody who like knew me was like, oh, what in the world is wrong with her? But yes, that was my best and worst advice.
And that's interesting because like I remember, and I think I've said it on here before, like when someone's like, when I have purple hair, aren't you worried people won't want to work with you because you have purple hair? And I was like, if that's their problem, then I don't want to work with them.
I loved your purple hair.
I
love your hair now, but like when you did that, I was like, look at this rock star go. That was when we first met, when you chopped your hair off and dyed it purple.
Cut it all off. You think this is short, y'all? I literally had a buzz cut at one point. My worst advice, and it wasn't even advice. I had an agent. I was the listing agent. Her client offered over asking, and she wanted me to go into MLS and adjust the asking price to match the offer so that the appraiser would just appraise it because that's the asking price.
That's not how that works.
Oh, she's a real estate educator now. She also got arrested a couple weeks ago for something else. But yeah, I was like, the fuck? No. I think that was my first real estate. The fuck? No, and I just said, honestly, like, that doesn't sit well in my stomach or my soul, and I just don't think that's fully ethical, so no.
Yeah. No. Okay. No, that's terrible. Let me think. What? I saw it, and then I lost my spot in the...
I know, there's quite a few in here.
There is a lot.
We're going to have to save some of these.
What is the most creative excuse you've heard for a client being late?
I don't know if it was creative, but it was the first client I fired.
Good.
I think she was a referral. This was so long ago. And it was height of COVID, height of everything being crazy. And like one house, there was an offer deadline. So I sent her the videos. And like the offer deadline was 30 minutes after our showing. And I begged the listing agent, like, please just give me. She was like, yeah, that's fine. Got the offer ready, sent it to her. She never signed it. She ghosted. Got an offer ready on a second house because she was like, I want to submit on both because of the market. I was like, okay. Ghosted. Never signed it. Then she was always late. She was going to the beach one time. And I only had one phone number for her. And the next thing I know, her boyfriend's blowing up my phone. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. This is how we're going to write the offer. And I said, with all due respect, you're not involved. Well, I'm giving her the down payment. I said, that's fine. You're still not involved. You're not on any of the documents. No. Well, I scheduled a showing that was like 45 minutes away from me. Mm-hmm. And she didn't show up. And so literally sitting there at the showing when I realized she wasn't coming, I sent the termination of agency. And with a polite email that said, this just isn't going to work out. Pretty much said, you obviously have no respect for me. Because I had texted everything. She calls me back. It says like, when did we have a showing? I was like, literally, here's the confirmation I sent you. You told me what time. Well, I'm at work. I can't go. Okay. Well, why didn't you say that? Well, why are you calling my work phone? Well, it's the only phone number I have, and you answered at the beach, so why would I think it was your work phone?
Right.
And I was just like, we done. Bye.
Sometimes it's so liberating to fire a client, honestly.
It was, and it was scary because it was still my first year, one of my first, and I was like desperate for money, but it was the first lesson of like, let it go and more will come. Let it go, and the energy, like you will be able to put it back and you'll get more out of it. And that was the first time. And every time that something has not worked out with a client, that is what has happened. every time I'm like, okay, well now I have all this time and energy to focus on something else.
Yep.
And it's paid me fivefold. So
Perfect.
yes. All right. How much time do we have?
Like 5 minutes.
Okay. If you could only listen to one song on the way to showings, what would it be?
Like right now or like in general? Because right now it would be Pick Out a Christmas Tree by Dan and Shay. My kids hate me.
Okay, but in general. And for the record, guys, Brenna is like, I'm pretty sure we've talked about this, but Brenna is a super Christmas fan.
I'm a Christmas elf. That's in a future life. In a past life, I was a mermaid and one of Santa's elves. I just know it.
Labor Day hits and she's like, no more mermaid, elf costume.
In general, I would listen to Sam Hunt, Outskirts. I listened to those two songs. Like, I could listen
look that one up. I don't think I know that one.
Outskirts? Really? Oh, I love that song. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Yep. Though we've been listening to a lot of Michael Jackson in this house recently. My 10-year-old discovered him and thought it was like this new cool thing because she heard the song on the Minion movie and she was like, "Oh my god, this is a new song." And I was like, "Babe, this is my music, honey."
How did she handle it when you told her he's dead?
Oh, she was like, "What do you mean? Like this is on the Minion movie?" And I was like, "I know, but Michael Jackson was like a long time ago." Yeah. So then she's like, she'll come home from school and be like, "Billie Jean is not my love." It's hilarious. I love it. I love it. This. So if I have control, it would be Outskirts by Sam Hunt. But if the kids have control, it's definitely something Michael Jackson right now.
Nice. Very nice.
You want to do one more each?
Yeah. It's your turn to ask me, so
let's do me think. What is one thing you always keep in your car besides real estate stuff?
Chapstick, lip balm.
Oh my god, everywhere.
Everywhere. I have one in my desk. I have one in each bag. I have one in my car.
Yes. I actually just got swag, like with my logo on it, and one of them is chapstick. Like the round, like the EOS chapsticks, like the good ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't use EOS. I use, I don't know, it's strawberry flavored. But it's definitely that and a first aid kit.
Oh yes, I've got that in the car.
And I have like a realtor kit in the back of like a roll of toilet paper, silly things like that. But I like a clean, empty car. Mm-hmm. Like if Mabel and I go on a long road trip, it gets detailed when we get home because I don't, and I just.
Mine needs to be detailed again.
Yeah, that. Oh, and you know what the other thing is? I keep a koozie in my glove box because you never know when a party is going to break out.
Oh, I love that. That's good. Yeah. That's life advice right there.
Right? You never know. That I don't remember where I picked that up, but there is always. I used to have a specific Dunkin' Donuts coffee koozie, but now it's just a regular can koozie. Okay, one more for you.
Yeah, make it a good one, and we'll wrap it up.
If you could work with any celebrity, who would it be as a client?
Oh, God. I don't know. I wasn't prepared for you to ask me that one. Any celebrity to buy a house. Any celebrity?
Any celebrity.
Oh, God. Sorry, Travis. Alive. It would be Jason Momoa.
Yeah. Good choice. Good choice. Sorry, Travis.
Oh,
that's a good choice.
Mm-hmm. Although if it had to be female,
doesn't shower that often. So
I don't know where you heard that. You can't believe everything you hear on the internet, Alyssa.
I mean, we can change men, right?
Right. If it had to be a woman, I think it would be Jennifer Aniston or Kristen Bell.
Yeah,
because I like
those are good choices.
Mm-hmm. But just off the top of my head, Jason Momoa.
I like those choices.
Yep.
Yeah, those are not any of my first choices, but
who would you be?
Dolly Parton. The Kelseys, and T Swift.
Okay, yeah, I could have guessed those for you if I thought about it long enough. I wouldn't have gotten Dolly Parton, but I would have totally gotten the Kelseys.
Yeah, or this one's, I don't know how celebrity his status is, but Jim Boeheim, if he wanted a retirement home in the South, that would be like my dream.
Then you could retire happy.
Yeah, I could say, yep, I did it. Like, I mean, that's just
I've
the Syracuse
peaked.
I've peaked. I have helped a retired NCAA basketball coach
Oh,
buy a house.
that's funny. Those are some good questions. Some real estate and some, I mean,
Yeah.
not
Well, and we still
necessarily.
have more, like we said at the
Yeah.
beginning, we have some that are going to turn into big episodes, like whole episodes in here that we
Mm-hmm.
did not even touch today. I think some of the ones we did touch, like the beginning ones, definitely we can expand on that.
Yep.
I'm gonna keep that in our back pocket, and we still have like what, 15 more in here. So
Yeah, I know. We could do another Q&A.
yeah,
Look
we
at
could do
that.
another Q&A and just when use it as a filler when we
A
need
quickie.
stuff down the road.
A
So,
quickie.
but yeah,
Yes.
and if you're listening and you have questions for us that you didn't hear here, and you want to see what our opinion is or what our favorite things are, email us contractsandchaos@gmail.com. Send us a DM on social media, and we will add them to the list so that we will come back to them at some point. Or if you even have episode ideas, something you're like, listen, you've touched everything, but you haven't touched this. Why not?
Yep.
Send it our way, because like we have some great ideas coming up, but we also want to make sure we're covering what y'all want. So
Yes.
send us your ideas, and we will keep it moving for 2025.
And we will see you guys next week. We just finished another episode of Contracts and Chaos, but believe me, the chaos does not stop here. So check out the show notes for our email address and where to follow us on socials, and we will see you next week.